really mad.
Touchdown, Alabama!
I tell you, I'm going to take it out on this guy here. You know, it's uncalled for us to continue to lose to this team.
Here, the kick is on the way. Blocked! It is blocked by Alabama!
I'm really mad. I'm going to cut his ass some more.
Stay tuned for College Game Day!
It's college football Cajun style. A pivotal SEC West battle tests LSU's ground game against Alabama's attack.
First test we've had this year, we feel like we failed miserably at it.
Failure is not an option for these big names leading their teams in big games. Arizona State can clinch Pasadena thanks to this man, who is the real Jake Plummer.
He's a goofball. He's not fake, he's just fake.
The nation's top rusher leads the Raiders in a Texas two-step, while two academies clash at West Point as we salute the triple option.
I think it's an unstoppable offense.
You can't stop College Game Day from the Bio next.
As they say in Cajun country, let the good times roll. Welcome to the edge of Death Valley as the folks here brace for a very special Louisiana Saturday night. It is a beautiful fall day on the Bayou. College Game Day coming to you from right across the street from LSU's Tiger Stadium. Along with Joe the Barber, and we thank him, Chris Fowler, the Kingfish, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit. We're going to have a lot of fun in the next hour. We'll talk about Alabama and LSU. All right, folks.
All right.
We'll talk about the other stories in college football. The academies bracing for a battle in very bad weather. The Sun Devils try to clinch the Rose Bowl. And also, the most interesting race for the rushing title in a long, long time. It's the best statistical battle of the season. The most compelling head-to-head campaign. Not Clinton versus Dole. It's the race for this rushing title. As one landslide ends, this too-close-to-call duel heads down to the home stretch. Cast your ballot for the challenger from West Texas, Byron Hanspard, or the incumbent, Troy Davis from Iowa State.
Well, Chris, a lot of people saying Troy Davis gets too many carries, but he's averaging 5.6 a carry, so he's doing something right.
Hey, Troy's having a great year, but he still has to play at Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas State. Uh-oh, he doesn't have an easy assignment, my friends.
Mr. Hanspard does have easier rushing defenses to go against the last 3 weeks.
Well, he's your prototypical NFL back, averaging 201 yards a game. He's trying to become the third player ever in the season to rush for over 200 yards.
In Tech's 24-10 loss to Nebraska earlier this year, Byron had 104 yards rushing. That's like getting 400 yards against any other team.
Never had two 2,000-yard rushers. They're both on pace. Now to this ball game. Alabama and LSU have met every year since 1964. Very few of them had the buildup of this game. No game down here has had this kind of buildup the last 8 years. LSU can all but secure the SEC West title with a win. Alabama needs a win to set up that showdown with Auburn. This is old school football. Not many mysteries, just 60 minutes of hand-to-hand combat. The old Keith Jackson saying applies here. Too much analyzing can be paralyzing. This is pretty simple tonight, folks. A couple of storylines, though. Some returns for the Tides. Curtis Alexander back after 4 games. He was the starter, but now Dennis Riddle is kind of entrenched as the workhorse. And Curly Hallman returns to Baton Rouge, the place that ran him off after the 94 season. He's now coaching the Alabama defensive backs. He's not saying much, but he would love to beat LSU. One of his guys, though, Deshae Townsend, hamstring problem. That could be tough. This Alabama defense, Lee, they will fly to the football and put a hat on you.
Well, Alabama's got great tradition. In the 1990s, Alabama has won 82% of their ball games, and the main reason is defense. And their defensive leader this week and this year is Dwayne Rudd, their linebacker. Now, number 87, Dwayne Rudd, is one of the best linebackers in the nation. He leads Alabama's defense, which ranked number 3 in the nation. The Tide only allows 89 yards on the ground. Now, I've coached in this stadium on a Saturday night, and let me tell you something, one thing, folks. The atmosphere is wonderful. It's a wonderful place to coach. It's a wonderful place. Both teams will get up sky high. The level of football is great.
Oh, and you can see the crowd already. I think it'll affect the team as well. I think coming into this game, it's no secret that LSU's strength is their running game. They're averaging running the ball 46 times a game, and they lead the SEC with 237 yards a game. Now, they're not today going to be able to just run the football. They've got to be able to throw as well. They're going to have to rely on their quarterback tonight, Herbstreit, to come up with some big plays. Tyler is a good quarterback, 6 feet, 194 pounds. He's thrown for 5 touchdowns. Now, he's only throwing 18 times a game. Has great quickness to avoid pressure, and also he feels most comfortable out on the corner on the roll. Now, he has to realize that in this game, he doesn't have to throw for a lot of yardage. He needs to be able to show a lot of composure and a lot of poise against a very good Alabama defense, and also, most importantly, convert on third downs. If he can do that, guys, I think LSU has a great chance in this game. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think they got a chance.
So it's that simple. Just convert on third down and avoid turnovers. If only more teams had known that.
That's right.
He also better be prepared to take some hits. You know, Peyton Manning said he was as sore as he's ever been after that Alabama defense. They will hit you and hit you hard. Meanwhile, in Chestnut Hill, they will actually play a football game today, a week dominated by the gambling investigation, and all those suspensions kind of overshadowed the rivalry between the two biggest Catholic universities. It's a critical game for the Irish Bowl chances also. With the latest on the fallout and the impact of the suspensions and also some potentially bad weather, here's Bonnie Bernstein from Boston. Bonnie?
Chris, it's nasty here at the Heights. Increasing showers with wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour, as if Boston College needs any more distractions.
One of the questions that has come up is how has the distractions bothered the team? And I asked the coaches, I said, what do you think? And one of the coaches told me, he said, I don't know, Coach, I've been too distracted to worry about the distractions.
Do you think he should be held accountable for his players gambling?
You are subsequently responsible for everything that's involved with a football program. And let's keep this in mind. People make bad decisions. You get 100 ministers, 100 rabbis, 100 priests. You're going to have some people make bad decisions. I go into a lot of Catholic churches. I've never gone into a Catholic church that there's not a confessional. And people make mistakes. It doesn't mean they're bad people.
A fitting analogy for the nation's biggest Catholic rivalry. But mistakes or not, BC is down 13 players thanks to gambling suspensions, 2 of them starters, tight end Scott Dragos and linebacker Jermaine Monk. Starting cornerback Kernan Spate has been cleared, but will sit out today to protest the scrutiny he came under this week.
I'm sure that Notre Dame is looking at us as a vulnerable team, and they would like to, after what happened here 2 years ago, beat us to whatever desire they would like.
The relationship between Henning and Holtz dates back 35 years. Holtz coached Henning at William and Mary in the early 60s. Then when he coached the New York Jets in '76, Henning was one of his assistants. Now, the two of them haven't spoken this week, Chris, but Holtz told me he definitely plans to touch base with Henning before the game to offer him his support.
All right, Bonnie, thank you. Later on in College Game Day, we'll take a look at what programs try to do to prevent players from gambling and how successful or unsuccessful that will be. A lot more coming up from Cajun Country. Tradition down here to bake a cake every week. A local bakery has been doing it for a long time. You can have your cake and eat it, too, if you stick with us for the next hour. Army and Air Force set to battle in nasty weather. We'll take a look at the option of both teams. And the Buckeyes defense is hungry as they set to take on the Illini after game day. We'll talk about that game and everything else going on when we continue from Baton Rouge.
Information you need at home with the world's #1 selling home computer with Intel Pentium processor. Packard Bell. Wouldn't you rather be at home?
Kid, you got the talent, but you got a problem. You're too nice. I'm gonna make you bad. Okay, Mr. Lambert.
To do business on the internet, and you're wondering where to start, then the fastest growing internet provider in America invites you to get on board. Now, no matter what size your business is, AT&T makes it easy to catch the wave.
Sears is filled to capacity with tires for whatever you drive. And right now, all Goodyear tires are on sale at the lowest prices of the season. Only at our garage, the Sears Auto Center.
Ransom is the edge of your seat thriller of the year. It's the best film of 1996. Mel Gibson. Give me back my son! Ransom, a Ron Howard film. Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
College Game Day is brought to you by Packard Bell, the world's #1 selling home computer, and by Fila. Change the game.
Our weekly on-campus roundup drops in on a record that didn't fall and a vandal who does fall. For
Idaho
fun.
quarterback Ryan Feen may lead the nation in total offense, but it's defensive end Ryan Phillips who really knows about airing it out.
It feels fast. Yeah, like you're falling. Scary getting out there and everything, but after I got down, I was excited. I want to go right back up.
Phillips started skydiving in high school when he and some friends decided to give it a try.
The worst part, I think, is sitting in the plane on the way up. And once the door opens, it's exciting and fun from there, but just the anticipation on the plane ride up is the scary part.
Tony Gonzalez, Cal's starting tight end, would like to leave a bigger mark today against Arizona State than did Tony Gonzalez, Cal's starting power forward last season.
I love both sports. I love playing them. I've done it for a long time now, and it's just it's going to be sad to me when I have to choose one.
The tight end averages 85 yards receiving per game. The forward, 5 points, 5 rebounds. Is it a record or isn't it? Last week, Hartwick's A.J. Pittarino rushed for an all-division best 443 yards against Waynesburg. But controversy. Later in the week, Waynesburg officials called Hartwick to dispute Pittarino's yardage total. They've reviewed the tapes. They've reviewed the books. They've called the NCAA. But neither school will budge from its stance. The record's fate? Stay tuned.
Now to the Big Ten. The skeptics and naysayers are back, and the bandwagon a lot less crowded as Northwestern now rolls into Iowa. Wildcats and Hawkeyes trying to play in one of the Big Ten's Florida Bowls, the citrus of the Outback, not the Texas Bowls, the Alamo or the Sun. The Cats last won in Iowa back in 1971. Believe it or not, Gary Barnett is thinking pink. He's painted the Wildcats team room pink to get them ready for that visiting locker room in Kinnick Stadium. Maybe it's a tweak of Hayden Fry. This is no love fest between these two coaches.
No, not at all. Yeah, you know, last week, Northwestern, they were flat out embarrassed by the way they played against Penn State. Not because of the way they lost, but because they were dominated on both sides of the football. For the first time in their last two-year turnaround, they have got to be able to regroup after a tough conference loss. To me, they have got to go back to getting physical and being able to dominate the line of scrimmage. The offensive line did not get it done last week. Steve Schnurr was on his back all day long, going on the road. I think Gary Barnett will get his team ready to play. I like him against Iowa. I think they will. I think
no, sir. No, sir. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Last week, Penn State's defense sacked Northwestern's quarterback Steve Schnurr 7 times. And this week, Iowa's as good as Penn State. Also, Iowa turned 3 turnovers into 17 points against Illinois. I like Iowa. I like them at home. And I like them anywhere, even here. I like Iowa.
Anybody who plays Northwestern.
That's right. I like Iowa.
The Wildcats' offensive line was like turnstile. 7 sacks.
Yeah.
Iowa does that
again this week.
They do that 20
and stemming as well.
Yep.
Lee, they love you now. They're going to really love you later on.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, the battle for the Illabuck. The #2 Buckeyes, bound for one of their best seasons ever. The Illini at 2-6, one of their worst. Very good chance for Ohio State's 3rd shutout of the season. They're #1 in takeaways. Illinois last in the Big Ten in turnovers. Expect the Buckeyes to test the Illini's manhood. Eddie George, 314 yards rushing. They took him out behind the woodshed last year. The best hope that Ohio State is looking past this ball game. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson set the scene, guys.
Chris, part of the success for Ohio State this year is the fact they've been able to stay healthy. That's not really the case right now. Backup running back Joe Montgomery's out for the year. That'll put more pressure on Pepe Pearson. And, Gary, for this game, more importantly, quarterback Stanley Jackson still kind of a question mark.
He was. During the week, Tuesday, he did not practice. Wednesday went a couple periods. He's got progressively better as the week's gone on. And in a windy field here, and at Illinois, it always is windy here, especially when it gets a little bit cold. Stanley Jackson gives him that other running back that he could be a big factor in this game.
They'd almost like to go this game without using him, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, Chris. He will start in this ball game that's coming up shortly. Right now, let's send it back to you guys.
That Buckeye defense just ferocious. 14 tackles for loss in one game. Is this one fitting to get ugly? Or does Illinois rise up maybe?
Illinois always plays Ohio State tough. I don't think that'll be the case this year. Ohio State's defense right now is playing as well as anybody in the country. #1 in the entire country in pass defense, and that'll come into play big time today. On the other side of the football, Ohio State in the last 4 or 5 weeks has been struggling. They are looking to try and reestablish that dominating their first 4 games. They're going to have to be able to get the balance back, and they got Michigan in 2 weeks. You got to be able to get that back.
Well, Kirk, if Ohio State and Arizona State run the table as they're supposed to and as they're expected to, for the first time in 66 years, 2 undefeated teams will play in the Rose Bowl. Here's an interesting note. Last time it happened, 1931. And guess who won the game? Alabama, 24-0. Just thought I'd mention it, my friends. Alabama.
You tried it.
He's trying to entice them. 24-0.
Hey, by the way, Ohio State 2 more wins. The Buckeyes can clinch the Rose Bowl before the Michigan game, unless Michigan beats Penn State. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. By the way, there's going to be snow at the Wolverines game against Purdue. That's over on ESPN2 coming up at 12:30 Eastern time. See how the Boilermakers respond to Gleno's resignation. East Carolina already stunned Miami. Trying to take down another Big East team, prove they belong. Virginia Tech with all those suspensions to deal with. And the Utes and Los Lobos in late night over on the Deuce. We will talk Tigers and Tide coming up in College Game Day. Kevin Falk, big yards, but they're worried about some fumbles for this guy. Bo Morgan and Air Force. A tornado warning as they set to take on Army in West Point. We'll talk about that game ahead also.
This weekend, for 4 days only, PC Richard & Son gives you 0% interest for 6 months on every item we sell. Right now, buy any home appliance, any TV, any VCR or camcorder. Get 0% interest for 6 months. Buy any home audio, portable audio, car audio, or cellular phone. Buy any home computer. Get 0% interest for 6 months. That's no payments, no interest, no money down for 6 months with a PC Richard credit card at PC Richard & Son. This weekend, be there.
From the people who invented vehicle security comes a family of products designed to totally stop vehicle theft. Introducing the STOP program, a unique line of sophisticated anti-theft products that provide noise-free layered vehicle protection. These mechanical and passively activated anti-theft layers keep your car safe from thieves. To find out more, call 1-800-CLUB-321 and we'll rush you our free layered protection video. If you're worried about auto theft, don't get alarmed, get immobilized. Now available at these fine stores.
ESPN Sunday Night NFL, you not only get 9 big matchups, but 1 big highlight show, complete with Berman and Jackson. Get all the great plays. All the players, Dion, Cordell, Cortez. Praise fans, too. Get owners, coaches, the entire NFL, jam-packed with catchphrases. It's ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
Hi, how are you doing? In its first year in a conference, Southern Miss can clinch the Conference USA title and the Liberty Bowl bid if they can win at Houston.
Well, look for them to air it out today with quarterback Lee Roberts. He's been extremely effective since taking over for Heath Graham. Sophomore quarterback, 7 touchdowns already on the year. Leads the conference in passing efficiency today, going up against the worst defense in the conference.
And
Southern Miss.
Eric Booth, the running back, nicked up. BYU thinking Cotton Bowl. They have to win this game. Rice is alive for the WAC title if they pull the upset.
You know, on the ground, Rice averages 458 yards per game. They've had 56 yards passing in the month of October. Yo, you heard me. They won 4 in a row. Rice last week had 188 yards returning. Utah won. A lot of hidden yardage. That's why that football team is undefeated. They got a shot at BYU, but I like BYU.
The guys with the winged helmets never take to the air. 29 passes completed all season. November the 9th, 1946, nation's ears pressed to the radio. #1 Army and #2 Notre Dame battled in Yankee City, the most famous tie in the history of football. Leahy, Blanchard, Davis, Brad Blake, being able to love the game. Now, a half century later to the day, Army has a chance at a breakthrough. End a 7-game losing streak to Air Force. Stay in the running for the Commander-in-Chief and the Independence Bowl. Get in the top 25 for the first time since '88. A lot at stake. This calls for Colonel Brake, maybe General MacArthur to give a speech. Air Force comes to West Point angry. 3 losses by a total of 7 points, and off that big loss to CSU last week. Mirror images. A couple of quarterbacks from Texas, Kirk. Bo Morgan, he's from Carrollton. Ronnie Makeda, he's from Mesquite.
Well, I think with Florida and the Florida States of the college football world getting most of the notoriety for their high-powered offenses, service academies and a handful of other teams are still running the antiquated triple option. They're having a lot of success. 5 of the top 7 teams going into this week lead the nation, or actually 5 of the top 7 in the nation in rushing, so they're obviously getting it done. So we visited 2 of the best, Air Force and Army, to find out how exactly the triple option works and why it's so tough to stop.
I think it's an unstoppable offense.
You've got to walk up, and you're given a play, you're given a formation.
As an option quarterback, you know, my first thing I do when I get to the line is I check out the linebackers, see if they have 2 or 3. Then I check the defensive line and see where they're aligned.
And you've got to do this all in a matter of about 2 seconds. And then you walk up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball, and there's another couple of decisions that you've got to make.
The quarterback bases his decisions on read keys, defensive players whose positioning and movement dictate 3 choices: the fullback dive, the quarterback keep, or the pitch.
It begins with the quarterback and fullback and the ability to read the first key, which is the handoff key.
The first read key on this play is the defensive end. In a split second, the quarterback reacts to him, in this case, by handing off to the fullback. The line creates a lane for the big game.
As the defense eventually decides to close down on him, you carry it out to the next 2 phases.
Once you can determine whether the read key is going to come down for the fullback, and you can pull. A big thing on that with me is I like to ride as far as I can into the line of scrimmage, and sometimes almost bait the defensive lineman down to the fullback.
Sometimes I'm like, I get tackled and I'm laughing because this guy, he's like grunting and yelling at me, and I'm just like, I don't got the ball.
The teams this year, for some reason, have really had a lot of respect for our fullback game and have taken, for the most part, our fullback game away from us. And that's given the opportunity for Bo Morgan to run the ball some.
Here, Morgan's first read key is a defensive end. When the end slides down the line, committing to the fullback, Morgan pulls the ball and ducks up inside the linebacker on the quarterback keep.
If he takes the quarterback, then we've got to pitch it off to the pitchback.
This time, Morgan's first read key commits to the run again. When Morgan pulls the ball and gets to the corner, he reads the pitch key. The safety, who in this case is up for run support, then he pitches to the running back for a big first down.
Then the defense thinks, okay, we got this thing defended. We'll put 9 up in the box. We'll be able to take away the quarterback, the fullback, and also the pitchback. What's the 4th option? The deep ball. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and that's a thing that people forget about.
You know, Ryan, he'll be in a bind sometimes, and he'll just fling a pass out, you know, out of nowhere, and, you know, he'll make something happen.
Looking his way is Makeda. He has the man wide open, and Thomas, he may go the distance. Count it off at the 30.
I think a lot of Bo's big plays in the running game and our offense come because of his ability to be able to throw.
And Bo Morgan puts it right in the chute. That's option number 4.
You just got to call them at the right time, and you got to hit them when they're open, because usually, you know, they're wide open.
We like to think that we can run the option against any defense.
As long as everybody does their job and execute the play correctly, there's really nothing the defense can do to stop it except maybe us stopping ourselves.
The triple option is a thing of beauty when it's run correctly. Air Force and Army, teams that don't have a lot of ability like the Floridas and Florida States, but they're able to move the ball. I like Army in this game playing at home. Very emotional game.
That's a good pick. And Kirk, everybody talks about the Army defense and offense, etc. Well, let me tell you something about the Army defense. They're ranked 5th in the nation in total defense. That's only 2 spots behind the great Alabama defense. Now, Army ranks number 2 in the nation on run defense. That's important because the Air Force loves to run the football. They also got excellent pursuit, and they move to the ball, and are very optimistic. They're a very good football team. Now, I think Air Force is still worried and still thinking about that Colorado State loss. I like Army over the Air Force because it's played at Army.
It's played in terrible weather. There's a tornado and flood watch in effect all day. That's Army training weather. They love it.
These Air Force is in trouble.
That's trouble.
These teams can adapt. How good is Bo Morgan, by the way? 7.5 yards a carry. As a quarterback is better than any running back in the top 50. He's 4th in the country right now in rushing. No quarterback has ever finished that high in the history of Division I-A football. Well, a lot more coming up from Baton Rouge. They are expecting big things tonight right inside this place behind us. We'll talk about the magic of the night game. They've installed something special here. A physics department student, Kevin Brown, will use a decibel meter to measure just how loud the crowd can be in Death Valley. Crowd here is pretty loud, too. Need a decibel meter out here. A lot more coming up. The tailgating continuing all around Tiger Stadium. We'll come back. A lot more to talk about ahead.
The Odyssey has a fold-away rear seat. It drives like a car. It even has 4 doors. Perfect for the family on the go.
It's hunting season, Ted. Hello?
The Odyssey from Honda.
Can you tell which man is at home and which is in a Residence Inn hotel room?
Honey, can you take out the garbage?
That was a hint. Residence Inn by Marriott. The next best thing to home.
Things in life can change like that. All that work, and it's gone. But Farmers Insurance can help you get things back to the way they once were. That's why everything we do, from the way policies are written to the way claims are handled, revolves around getting you back to that point. Isn't that what insurance is supposed to do? Hey, wires can short out. Toasters can catch fire. These things happen. But with Farmers, we can at least help get you back where you belong.
ESPN asked me to say a few words about their ESPN Bud Light Big Monday promo, but since it ain't in my contract, I'll let the cat with the monster truck voice clue you in.
Go to a participating Bud Light retailer and pick up an entry form and schedule. Select your weekly Big Monday winners. Mail them in. If you're the lucky bum whose entry is drawn and all your picks are correct, you win a free trip to the championship week game of your choice. Otherwise, you get a bunch of ESPN Bud Light merchandise.
It ain't bingo, baby.
Welcome back to College Game Day. This place is unlike any other. As a promotion, a couple of radio station guys are sitting on a billboard trying to raise money so Jerry DiNardo can pay off his buyout clause against Vanderbilt. He's been actually collecting money. Folks are dead serious. If LSU gets a win, they'll come by and bring up a couple $1,000 for him. I'm not kidding. The last time LSU beat Alabama here in Death Valley, President Nixon was in the White House. The Beatles had the #1 song. Carol and Mike Brady were just getting shacked up on ABC. Man had just walked on the moon, and our young friend over here, Kirk Herbstreit, was born back in 1969. Now, Alabama's had a week to rest and recover from the loss to Tennessee. After open dates under Gene Stallings, the Tide are 9-0-1. Jared DiNardo has used every motivational technique he knows to get the Tigers ready, and he's very, very good at that. Both teams have had successful seasons so far, but it is each side's singular failure in '96 that weighs heavily on their minds as this showdown approaches.
No regrets. Anytime you get beat, you know, you feel bad, and you want to come out the next week and do better.
We thought we did all the things that we could to win the game. You usually win the game when you do all those things, but we came up short.
The first test we had this year, we felt.
We know we went into Neyland Stadium, played a great game, and just didn't get it done at the end.
Even with a week off to think about it, Alabama doesn't see the 1-7-1 as a failure.
We're trying to shut out Peyton, who's the finest, one of the finest quarterbacks in the country, when basically we did. They got half of their offense on 2 plays. They were 1 for 12 on 3rd downs, and yet we ran the ball for 240 yards, still lost the game.
They hurt for a week, coming off a hard loss. Everyone just ready to just get back on the field. It was more like we kind of got to move on, because if we sit there and dwell on that loss, then I think that this week's game, it might play a part, and that might hurt us.
You want to come out and take out some revenge on the team you're going to face, and we can put ourselves in that situation when we play Florida. You know, we wanted to come out the next week and restake our claim that we are a solid football team, and that's something that we had to do. And I think we're going to get Alabama's best effort.
For the Tigers, the 1-6-1 means one-upped. 3 weeks ago in the Swamp, Florida held the SEC's leading rushers to a scant 28 yards all day. Since then, the Tigers have redeemed themselves, averaging 250 ground yards versus Mississippi State and Kentucky. Nevertheless, they still talk of the Gators' domination.
We feel like we failed miserably at it, and this is the second big test, and we're anxious to get to and see where we are.
Now the Tigers are looking to reestablish their roar and restore some pride.
I think this game right here is it is to determine if we can go past the challenger circle and stuff. It seems like we always get to that little point right there, and it's like we just get stuck right there.
We've spent the last 3 weeks talking about the next time we're in a situation when we're in a big game, which tonight certainly is. We want to play better.
You know, if we take care of business this Saturday night and face Alabama and finish out the rest of our games, there's a possibility we'll get a rematch against Florida. And, once that time comes, we'll handle that situation then. But right now, we have to take care of step one in order to get farther on down the road.
Before the Auburn victory, Jordan Notre went player to player, telling each guy what he expects of him. Done the same thing this week. Let's talk about this ball game now. LSU's wideouts, not really a factor. Right. 3 touchdown catches all year long, all by Larry Foster.
Well, Chris, LSU's offense is run, and then throw the ball to David LaFleur, the tight end. That's it. You talk about boring, this is it right here. David is 6'7", 278. He's an excellent blocking. He's also the leading receiver on the team. He's caught 2 of their 6 touchdown passes. Now, Kirk, I question if you can beat Alabama with a one-dimensional offense. You can beat SEC teams, but Alabama's defense is awful tough.
You're baiting these guys out here today, aren't you? We've been talking a lot about LSU. Let's look at Alabama and their defense. Year after year, one of the reasons Alabama's defense is one of the best in the country is the defensive speed. This year is no exception. Tonight, going up against a very good LSU running game, they're going to have to be able to put people up in the box, and that means Kevin Jackson, a safety who is fantastic at run support. X is an added inside linebacker in the defensive structure for the Tide. Second on the team in tackles, loves to hit. Now, Jackson is an intimidating athlete, and I think you're going to see Bama feel that they have enough athletes to match up with LSU on the outside. Look for Bama to crowd the line of scrimmage and try and take away Rondell Mealy and Kevin Falk. That's really their game plan defensively.
LSU folks here concerned about Kevin Falk's fumbles. He's lost 7 of them. Alabama fans may be a little bit concerned about their kicking game. Brian Cunningham is injured. John Brock basically kicked 1 field goal all year. That was in the NC State game. It's been nice knowing you, Lee. I've enjoyed working with you. It's been terrific, by the way. The folks here, if you think they're enjoying themselves now with the sunshine, surrounded by the oak trees, you ought to see night. Like no other place in America, this place is built for nighttime. When the sun goes down and the dusk turns to black, Tiger Stadium becomes Death Valley for a taste of the long, glorious tradition of Louisiana Saturday nights.
When the sun goes down and the lights go on, something special happens in Death Valley. Halloween, 1959. Number 1 LSU trailed third-ranked Number 7 Notre Dame visited Death Valley for the first time in 1970. Revenge was on the Tigers' mind, having lost the previous year 3-0 at South Bend. But LSU's defense stepped up to the challenge with 3 goal line stands. On offense, second-string quarterback Burt Jones emerged as the Tigers' field general. In the first quarter, Jones found his cousin Andy Hamilton for a touchdown reception. LSU never looked back, defeating the Irish 28-8 as Notre Dame freshman Jerry DiNardo listened on the radio. October 8, 1988 was registered on a seismograph in LSU's geology department.
When the touchdown hit, the stands vibrated. The vibration was incredible. The stands were shaking. This event, we've established definitely, is the actual touchdown. The crowd made the stands vibrate so much it was recorded as though it had been an actual earthquake.
That's on my top 5 all-time things I've ever seen. By the way, what difference does it make to play here? In the day games, LSU, since 1960, well under 500. It makes a difference when they play at night. That's why Steve Spurrier tries to get games changed to the day whenever Florida comes in here. Paul Bryant hated to play here, but he was successful more times than not. We're going to come back. More thoughts on this. Get quiet of the crowd. Just the mention of Paul Bryant's name. They got very quiet there for a second. We'll talk about Jake the Snake. He is really quirky, but he's really clutch, too. The Sun Devils going for the clinch. And the Red Raiders closing in on that rematch with Nebraska. They take on Texas today, an important game. A lot more on College Game Day from Baton Rouge coming up.
Enterprise, rent a car for my trip?
Looks expensive.
It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Sears is filled to capacity with tires for whatever you drive. And right now, all Goodyear tires are on sale at the lowest prices of the season. Only at our garage, the Sears Auto Center.
The sticks have a personality all their own, and Chili's fire-roasted skewers set the tone. Watch them sizzle from fire and flame. Now beef and chicken ain't the same. Zucchini and squash hooked between peppers and corn. With chili pepper, honey, and lime seasonings, they're adorned. Then lusciously lanced, they're laid upon the flame to feel the fires dance. Fire-roasted skewers, oh, you haven't had them yet? Well, Chili's grills like no place else. On that you can safely bet.
Today on ESPN2. It's non-stop football. First, Michigan travels to Lafayette for a Big Ten battle with Purdue. Then, upset-minded East Carolina tussles with highly touted Virginia Tech. Finally, it's an offensive explosion as Utah tries to outgun New Mexico. Michigan, Purdue at 12:30. East Carolina, Virginia Tech at 7. Utah, New Mexico at 10. Today, only on ESPN2.
In Lubbock today, the Red Raiders can take a major step toward the Big 12 divisional title in the South. Longhorns in must-win mode.
Well, they have two leaders defensively for Tech that's been playing well all season long. Robert Johnson, 5'11", 194 pounds. They had a big interception against Nebraska for the touchdown. Also, defensive end Tony Daniels. He's been effective up front. 9 tackles for a loss and 3 sacks. Also forced 4 fumbles. I like Tech at home in this game.
You know, Byron Hanspard leads the nation average at over 200 yards per game rushing. He also averages 6.4 per carry. He's strong and quick. And here's an interesting one for you, Chris. Texas Tech has won 11 of the last 12 games at home. They only lost Nebraska 24-10. They're a good football team.
They get it done at home.
They'd have a 15-game winning streak at home if not for those Nebraska games. A Tech win and an Oklahoma loss, by the way, today to Oklahoma State, and Tech would already clinch the division title. The Longhorns also have the destiny in their own hands. So this is a big game day for guys who need to get wins to get into bowls here. Arizona, Kansas, basically must-win mode. Texas A&M must win out to have a chance. Kirk, Clemson, Virginia's big.
Yeah, Virginia, I think they will dominate defensively, whether Kneeling Green plays or not. They're going to get ready for the big showdown next week with North Carolina.
All right, we'll talk about this showdown as we continue from Baton Rouge. Great tailgate today. Hey, couchon de lait, fried turkey, boudin. Hey, they're cooking everything up here. Couchon de lait.
I liked it.
Roast pig.
How about some kielbasa? How about some kielbasa?
When I say facts and report to me by 5, I mean 5.
You can kiss that promotion goodbye, shorty.
Your accountant's on line 1. The audit's next Tuesday.
Your wife's on 2, and where's the dry cleaning? Yeah, where's the dry cleaning?
Life getting a bit overwhelming? Try the simple thrill of an Accord Coupe from Honda.
I drive 150 to 200 miles a day. Well, my truck's my life. If it weren't for my truck, I wouldn't be making any money. So wherever the houses are, I go. And my truck's got to get me there. I learned from my grandfather used Pennzoil, my dad used Pennzoil. I've been using Pennzoil for about 15 years, ever since I got my first car. I go through it by the case. I work hard for my money, and I want to make sure my money's working hard for me. I buy my oil at Walmart. I'm here all the time, and I know I'm going to get the best prices, and I don't have to shop around anymore. Nobody touches my truck but me. That's my baby.
All right, gentlemen. Tomorrow, your butts are mine. Lights out.
Man, I'm hungry.
Russell athletic wear is made to handle the toughest situations on and off the field.
Hot dog. French fries. Hamburger. Tacos. Tacos grande. Pizza. Coach? Going somewhere, ladies. Hard work. Dedication. Commitment.
Get Russell athletic. Get tough.
Get up there, Lord, but go.
Fastest man in football, take 2, and action.
All right, Rocket, show us how easy it is to dial 1-800-COLLECT.
I just did it.
Did what?
Dialed 1-800-COLLECT.
Well, can you do it slower next time?
Fastest man in football, take 3.
Okay, try it again. Show us how easy it is to dial 1-800-COLLECT.
I just did it.
Did what?
Dialed 1-800-COLLECT.
You did?
Can we go to replay? Dial 1-800-COLLECT. It's fast, it's easy, it saves.
And welcome back to the land of riverboat gambling. Speaking of gambling, the scandal at Boston College this week certainly brought back terrible memories of the scandal there in basketball 15 years ago and pointed out the problem in intercollegiate athletics. What, if anything, can coaches and administrators do to try to prevent this problem? Linda Cohn takes a look.
Whether you take it seriously or not, you don't know. You always think the best of your kids. You never, it's not instead of going out and, an ounce prevention kind of thing, sometimes you just think, that can't happen to us. And it can happen. It can happen to any of us.
According to the NCAA, the majority of the 111 Division I football programs take preventative measures at the start of training camp to educate student athletes about the dangers of gambling.
Here at Michigan, we spend a lot of time, particularly in the preseason and in the spring, in educating our kids to the type of people who would possibly be involved in gambling.
On our first meeting with our squad every year, one of our rules is no gambling, no association with gambling.
Each one of those camps I've had in an expert on gambling, on how do you get involved, how do they seduce you into the thing about gambling and giving information.
The NCAA is in the forefront of being proactive with our student athletes and our coaches and our athletic administrators and other campus personnel. We've been on approximately 5 campuses just in the last 4 weeks talking about gambling, and we'll continue to do that for the foreseeable future.
Arnie Wexler is a certified compulsive gambling counselor. He was hired by the University of Kentucky this season to speak in front of the student body.
We need to have administrators to be real and to identify the gambling on the campus. It's so easy to place a bet on the campus. It's easier to place a bet on the campus than to buy a can of beer or buy a pack of cigarettes, because you got athletes and you got students that all they have to do is pick up a phone and they're placing a bet. They don't even have to leave their room.
About 4 years ago, all we did on Saturdays was get in fist fights. Fight. And they finally put in a rule, if you fight, you're going to get thrown out of the game and suspended for the next game. I don't think we've had a fight in 4 years, So they got to do the same thing with gambling. Get the message out to these kids, and if you do, you're through. And if that don't work, nothing else will.
2 months ago, the NCAA funded a research survey that sampled 2,000 male Division I football and basketball players. Of the 648 that responded, 25% admitted to betting on athletic events, and 4% admitted to betting on events in which they played. 3 of the 648 respondents admitted they received money for not playing well in a game. These numbers suggest that for a significant number of student athletes, the message is not getting through, despite the efforts of their respective programs.
You can deliver a message, but the people receiving the message are the people they got to believe you, and they got to want to do it.
How effective is it? Well, I don't know. You hope it's 100% because you don't know of any gambling you've had, but you're always afraid of it.
We've been very fortunate that we haven't had serious issues surrounding this stuff, but I am not so naive to think that we are so different than anybody else that that's not a possibility.
Has it helped us? I don't know, but I feel really comfortable that we're trying to do the right things along those lines. But I think everybody's susceptible.
It's a societal issue, and for us in athletics to think that our student athletes are not involved as students are involved in this whole area of betting on sporting events, I think is a very naive approach.
Well, it's a societal issue to say the least. Now, BC players we talked to, they said they went through the seminars, the preseason talks. obviously didn't work. So what's plan B?
Well, Chris, you know, as you said, most coaches do as they said he do. They bring in an FBI agent, and he talks to the team. The problem now, since it's been going on, is that gambling goes right on the campus. The coaches have no idea what's going on, so therefore, if they hear any rumors, they got to run to the athletic director. Don't walk. Run to that athletic director and tell them they heard a rumor.
And there are reports that Dan Henning did not instantly go to Gladcheck as athletic director. That could be a big mistake down the road. Gladcheck, by the way, was the former AD at Tulane, was brought in the wake of the point-shaving scandal in basketball to help clean things up there.
Well, coaches, athletic directors, the NCAA, anybody, they can do whatever they want. It's not going to matter. These players, unless you're going to monitor these players 24 hours a day, this goes for any rule. These coaches cannot think that they can control players from doing that, even if they come down with a real stern punishment, like Bobby Bowden talked about, getting rid of them, getting off the team. They're still going to do it. Now, whether they do it on games they participate in, it's a whole different issue.
Should do that.
No.
All right, we'll get it back on the field right after this on College Game Day. We'll talk more about the Tide and the Tigers, and also the game out in the Pac-10, where Arizona State can clinch the first Rose Bowl in a decade against Cal. The shootout expected. We'll come back, talk more about that ball game and a lot more.
Once upon a time, winter meant hibernation. I couldn't get to work. My wife was stuck too, and Junior was clawing at the walls. So we three bears got 3 snapper snow throwers. A snapper for Junior, a snapper for Mama Bear, and one for me. Any size snapper goes through snow like a grizzly. Your family will be free and clear in no time and live happily ever after. Nuts to nuts and berries. We're going out for porridge.
Available at R.A. Grooves. Free delivery within 20 miles.
Anti-lock brakes, dual airbags, and a steel safety cage. Finally, the cost of living has gone down. The BMW 318 Ti at your tri-state BMW dealer.
Just because you're a former athlete, it doesn't qualify you to be a Sports Center anchor.
After the Olympic gold medal, the Rhodes Scholarship, 10 years with the New York Knicks, I was a U.S. Senator for 18 years.
How about any writing experience?
Well, I wrote 3 books, one on the bestseller list, and the Tax Reform Act of 1986.
But no TV writing?
Any experience in front of an audience? Well, I gave a keynote address at the Democratic National Convention.
I meant a large audience.
Oh.
Our friends over at ABC offer these games regionally at 3:30 Eastern Time. That Pac-10 game, Washington State, Wazoo can get bowl eligible with the win. The Bruins must win out to get bowl eligible. We've talked about most of those other ball games. Now out to the Pac-10. Cal and Arizona State should be a shootout. The Bears come off the longest game in 1A history, that 4 overtime win over Arizona. The top 2 offenses in the Pac-10, the top 2 quarterbacks, including, of course, Jake Plummer. He is one different dude. He may quack like a chicken, but he never chokes. He's not very stylish or pretty, but as Steve Cyphers reports, this guy's become the picture of a clutch player, skinny legs and all.
Jake Plummer, a star? You could see it coming in a snapshot taken when he was 12 years old.
Great form, skinny little legs though, high white socks, which he still wears, great delivery, and throwing on the run, which he does great.
Jake Plummer, a star? You could see it in his first Sun Devil pass as a freshman.
The very first pass he threw was a 78-yard reception.
Plummer with the
and it was a beautiful pass.
He threw, I think it was a 78-yard touchdown pass. If I'm correct, I don't know, but I knew he was going to be good.
Jake Plummer passed good a long time ago. Hotter than an Arizona August, Jake the Snake is a star.
He's terrific to have as your star because he embodies all the things that you want in your team in terms of toughness and dedication and caring about each other.
Boy, this kid can play. Let's fire up some Plummer's throwing on Camel Country. Well, Nelly.
Well, you got it, Keith.
Nothing on earth that'll get us going like Jake Plummer's throwing. Everyone knows when the snake drops back in the broad daylight that an ASU win is always in sight.
My name has not become household, but has become a much more noticed name around the country, and that's good. It comes with success.
Success, he won't stop saying, that is due to his teammates, the ones who tolerate Plummer Mania and their newfangled nickname,
Plumbers. Sun Plumbers.
Because they know the real snake.
He's goofy. The way he dressed, he was just sloppy looking.
That's just Jake. He's no sense of style whatsoever. I mean, he wears red, white, and blue wristbands on a maroon and gold uniform, so.
No style? Sloppy? The star? With cap forever on backwards, he shaves less than he showers. Oh, but when he does,
he'll be taking a shower and he'll put his hair up in a mohawk and start barking like a chicken. I mean, sitting there and just barking.
You get stressful, you know, you get too into it, and once in a while you just need a good laugh. And if I'm the guy that does it, I'll, you know, makes myself look like an idiot, I'll do it.
Acting like a chicken, his head back and forth, you know, he's a goofball. I mean,
so he's not a snake. He's not even a reptile.
No, I think he's a farm animal.
crazy as a chicken, stubborn as a mule, that snake. Doesn't know when to quit. Throw for a touchdown, run for a touchdown, or catch a touchdown toss. He'll do it all if his team's behind. In 37 career starts, the Snake has wriggled his team to victory 10 times when they were tied or trailing in the fourth quarter.
I like to win. I hate losing in anything. I mean, since I've been a little kid with older brothers and older cousins, it's been do or die in any game I've ever played, pretty much.
He's never, to my knowledge, ever, when we've needed a touchdown or a play, that he hasn't done it. I mean, I'm talking about all the time.
Maybe it's the crazy as a chicken side of Snake that fails to feel pressure. Maybe it's the mule in him that refuses to succumb to it.
I don't think it's so much pressure that we put on Jake's shoulders. I think it's what he expects of himself.
I feel I should play well, being the four-year starter and a senior. I've been in the system long enough and matured enough that I should have a good game regardless of who we're playing.
His games have been so good in '96 that the Snake and the Heisman are being mentioned in the same sentence. And so what if his stats don't match those garish numbers of other Heisman hopefuls?
But he's no Werfel. He's no Manning.
You don't want to go there. All he cares about is winning games. And, you know, he's not the type of quarterback who can come off and say, let me throw more to pat my stats.
I don't know that you've been in a huddle or in a locker room or on the sideline and it's fourth down and it's 7 to go. And if we don't get it here, we ain't winning the game, and he makes it. That is staggering how important and how good he is.
Jake Plummer is what everyone says he is. He's great.
What Jake Plummer is, simply put, is a star.
Oh, Jake and the Sun Devils looks like Rose Bowl time.
In Tempe, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
We don't like to pull the plug on the song there. Now, as for these Sun Plumbers in tonight's game, by the way, it'll be Liquid Plumber, as in big party celebration if they can win this game. But do you worry as a coach that they're a little too high for this?
No, I don't think so. I think they've got the goal to go to the Rose Bowl, and I think they will when they win this ball game. But everybody talks about Plummer, they talk about Poole, they talk about Battle. They got another guy named Jeff Polk. Now, this guy is a monster. He's 245-pound sophomore. He carried 11 times for 114 yards versus Oregon State. His name of his position is the fly position, the fly back. This guy's the biggest fly in the world. I like Cal to score, but I like Arizona State to score more. They got too many weapons, and they got that goal of going to the Rose Bowl. Arizona State wins this one.
What was that name again? Polk?
Jeff Polk.
Jeff Polk.
P-A-U-L-K.
I've never even seen him all season long. That's the difference.
That's right.
Okay. I think if you talk to a lot of people, they're going to talk about the Arizona State offense, but if you talk to the people at Arizona State, they talk about the defense. That's the difference between last year's team and this year's team. Last year, they were the worst defense in school history, allowing 30 points and 427 yards a game. Now this year, only 19 points and 324 yards, good for best in the Pac-10. However, if there's one area you're going to be able to get after them, it's pass defense. And I think quarterback Pat Barnes for Cal today will put up some numbers, but I agree with Coach. I think Arizona State will outscore them. They're going to go to the Rose Bowl.
Big edge statistically on defense, you're right, for Arizona State. Some symmetry here. A decade ago when they clinched the Rose Bowl, it was against Cal. But then they lost to Arizona, and you say beware the Wildcats.
Absolutely.
We'll talk more about that game coming up. Meanwhile, the team that is expected, I guess, by most to head up against the Sun Devils in the Rose Bowl, that would be the Buckeyes. Pepe Pearson getting ready to take on Illinois. That game is coming up then. It's Alabama and LSU tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. We'll come back, picks on that game straight ahead.
You got a client meeting at 4 and you better be there.
You're not gonna wear that, are you?
Hey, lady, you're out of Huggies.
Life getting kind of complicated? Try the simple luxury of an Accord V6 sedan from Honda.
This is the Silicon Prairie, where we get 30,000 calls a day here at Gateway 2000. How come?
Because it was the best value.
I got my money's worth.
We built the computer that I needed.
I needed a high-performance machine, and that's what I got.
And they were great. I felt comfortable right away.
Great big boxes, look like a cow.
I got a fork.
Gateway computers feature the Intel Pentium processor. So call 1-800-GATEWAY and ask for our free video. Isn't it time you called?
Hey, Buzz, long time no see. Toy Story toys have arrived at Burger King. 8 new toys from Disney's magical adventure movie, Toy Story, now on video. Your kids can collect all 8, one with every great-tasting $1.99 Kids Club hamburger meal. Toy Story toys, only at Burger King.
Riddle me this, Scatman. What's got 10 legs and kicks butt? Dig. Wake Forest is the team for me. Baddest mothers in the ACC. Demon Deacons ringing up the score. Packing their bags for a trip to the Final Four. The Jams. The Slams. Ah, that Duncan kid's name. It ain't just a noun. It's a verb. It's a bad verb.
Thanks for the grammar lesson.
College Game Day is brought to you by Honda, vehicles designed to help simplify your life.
Well, the big showdown is 3 weeks away, Florida and Florida State. The storyline for both teams, try to get healthy and then whack overmatched opponents between now and then. Pat Busby for the Seminoles, the quarterback, unlikely to play as they take on Wake Forest in a Demon Deacon home game, supposedly in Orlando. So Kendra gets the start there, maybe get him some experience. In Nashville, the Gators are very short-handed against Vandy. They do get some of those injured defensive players back. You'll see plenty of Doug Johnson, the quarterback of the future. But Spurrier has issued a warning to Vandy fans who booed last time when they threw and they were up big. He says, if you keep booing, we're going to keep throwing. We're really going to make it ugly. We might throw 2 passes on 1 play.
So be on your best behavior.
So the Vandy fans, you can help dictate the outcome. Other top 25 games, Nebraska takes on Missouri. 7 touchdown favorites in that game. Tennessee's won 8 games in a row at the Liberty Bowl. Leonard Little, by the way, out for the year with a knee injury.
Well, North Carolina's quarterback Chris Keldorf has had 4 straight 3-touchdown games. North Carolina, watch out. Louisville's better than people think.
All right, now it's time for this ball game. We said not a lot of analysis necessary. It's just hand-to-hand combat. The weather should be perfect. The field may be a little loose. That could be a factor. How do you see it?
Well, let's make one thing perfectly clear. It's been a very magical year for LSU, going all the way back to the baseball season, winning the College World Series back in June. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. Won the national championship by a home run by Warren Morris. He hit the game-winning home run. Warren is here. There he is today. The big question, will the magic Warren Morris come into play in this game? I say no. I think Alabama wins this game on the road.
Ooh. Oh, you can, you pick it. Wrong time. Wrong time. All right.
I got one word for you, Lee.
What's that?